So I had quite a few of these drawings of floor plans. I had a phase where I was just drawing and drawing floor plans, and this batch is not organized, so there'll be more floor plans coming up. Also in the bonus section in the training you already have some of these floor plans, but the idea was that there is a bed, a rocket stove or bed connected to a traditional Russian stove that you can feed, and obviously the whole bed warms up. I mean, that's just stuck with me from childhood story days. Then obviously there's a floor. This was designed for a geodesic dome. That's before I discovered other things. But now the Aircrete dome, for example, but you need to make it out of mass for it to store heat, and this could be the geodesic part, clear greenhouse. Then this needs to store heat, so it can't be Aircrete. It can be Aircrete on the outside, and I'll show you the next drawing. Actually prepare it. But nevertheless, so it's got a wetland here, it's got an aquaculture system, and another wetland. So it's got a variety of wetlands, composting units, beds around it, gardening beds. But obviously, you know, on the south side of the building, which would be on the shady side of the building, you know, you'd plant different things. I know it's somewhat very symmetrical and very geometric, and maybe not real to the real life scenario in terms of, you know, but nevertheless I will share the drawings with you. Then there was a Cal Earth type of Vesica Pisces part of a dome connected by a tunnel, a vault. Yeah, and there were going to be some trees or crystals. This could be a really awesome for a little temple space. You know, I think that's more than just a home. But nevertheless, so there's a table with a sink and a bed and wetlands, and then maybe an underground water tank. I've been drawing these underground water tanks for eons. So here's something I designed when I was at Hajaro's workshop, Aircrete workshop. So see, I'm starting to work out a double layer system with a mass, like a clay bricks on the inside and then Aircrete bricks on the outside. And that's the first time, and there was a sandbag foundation. It's the first time I had idea of joining the Aircrete and mass together, and also joining the Super Adobe structures and Aircrete structures together. But subsequently I have come to understand, if you are joining, because sandbag structure needs to have a buttress. So does the Aircrete, but you know, Aircrete can't lean on sandbag. Aircrete can lean on sandbag, but sandbag can't lean on. So in future, what I would do, it would be if I'm to connect a Super Adobe structure, I would create a buttress, and that would support, so there'd be actually separate structures that wouldn't be touching. Otherwise, you have this ugly thing in the middle of your room, which I currently do. So here's some other ideas of joining and windows. So just floor plans, nothing perfected. Yeah, I've taught you all of these things already. So I just wanted to show you the double layer scenario here. There's an interesting piece for when I was on the land. I was developing an idea of swales, these contour-line swales that would have these fields and gardens cascading down with a vegetable garden at the bottom, which I partially created. I created all of this, if you've seen from my videos. And then obviously this waterway river that flowing all the way, but definitely taking contour line shapes, which is quite important. I don't even remember what on earth this is, probably little pathways. Yeah. So that's very pretty and functional. If you could get as many contour line swales as that, your land would be so juicy. But then make sure that your house should never be on the side of the swale, because it will be forever moist. So you always want to keep your house kind of away from this moisture, because you know it's just going to rot from underneath, or have a good damp course, and obviously slightly raised on a slab that it won't, you know, the water won't go up. There's an interesting drawing. been developing these geodesic domes with plants and creepery and something like a bench. So there's a bench unit, could be a little sauna, but yeah, actually great for a sauna. A little, you know, you can maximize space using a sphere. And obviously it could be partially submerged or fully submerged. I mean, a fully submerged sauna would be amazing, like a submersion chamber with water also. But there was a little table and plants. These were these instant vertical gardens. So they're actually tapered shapes that fit into a geodesic triangulation. So this will be each one of these will be triangular, obviously, and then it has a wider part, you know, closer to the back. So it'll be front view if I'm looking at it. Okay, so it'll look like that, yeah. And then these just slot in, and you have an instant vertical garden. You know, instant meaning these are prepped off-site, and then you just pop them in, you know, and off you go, and you've got a fully green roof. But what I wanted to show you here is the bench idea, and obviously these instant vertical garden attached to a geodesic sphere. There is something, before I went to Mike Reynolds, I've been starting to already combine. I love combining things and learning from top wizards and how can we make it work. And here we've got obviously an ecodome from Nadir Khalili type of structure, and then an earthship U-shape with another super adobe structure. So it's just something you can play with as a house design, of merging the two. And I was actually building this. I finished building this on the farm. All those houses was those little bolikis, the reptile finish that you saw on the house, little balls like a for plaster render as a final finish. That was these rooms. So you saw a picture there. And so this was finished, and this is I just dug out, and this is actually designed for our house on the farm. But then we had a robbery, and yeah, we had to leave the farm. But it's all perfect. I'm here today. Then I got into this interesting plaque of, and I'll zoom in for you, but these really interesting, and I actually made a clay sculpture which I never photographed of this thing, which is quite sad, but nevertheless it's got a Fibonacci, it's got a vault that you know, actually expands, and then it's got a geodesic type of quarter sphere, or a bit more than a quarter sphere, that, you know, the greenhouse geodesic greenhouse, and it's got these doors which you can, round doors which you can do into a geodesic dome quite easily. Yeah, and then so that's a room on its own, and it's got a water tank, it's got another room here, and the whole idea was that it's like a living ecosystem in a Vesica Piscis itself. Yeah, I think I'll have even more drawings of this. I hope they're in this pile to show you, but you know, it's something that needs to be prototyped and developed. I had another interesting idea yesterday. If we do, let's say we do an aircrete structure with a geodesic front little bubble, this could be in the front, then I was thinking, what if we have this type of room on the back, you know, creating a vault, but now automatically this is a dividing wall with one of this another geodesic little sphere. I mean, I know it's hard to picture, but I'll have to draw it in 3D one day. But the idea is that we're going to be developing various structures that are low cost, and eventually we're going to have 5 or 6 or 7 structures that are worked out for various climates, and they are and then they will be like either made like kits or taught like kits. We'll include a few of them in our course. So here I was using a Shayana's Dean, which is, I don't know what plaque she is on, but it's all binary thing. It's a double spiral versus the Fibonacci, which is 1.618. But so I've used it as a double spiral. I don't get into her knowledge, but she's talking about cosmic maps and so on. I don't think I'm resonating with that information, but she's got very pretty drawings that I've used as stencils. I drew them in, you know, in the coloring book. You'll actually have some of the stencils that you can, you know, mark things on the land, and obviously that geometry is going to create some form of energy, and binary it's a square, which is addition. So yeah, but anyway, so you've got a, I'll show you a drawing of this. I think it's in the bonus stage. The radio was for vegetable garden, a food forest, spirals, which have been prototyping the earthworks. So this is just a preliminary sketch for that, but you've got a full sketch of that in the bonus section in color. Here's another little home design within a hexagon, so it can be nested in, you know, they can be nested next to each other. It could be potentially a property development project. So here we've got a potential of an aircrete structure, for example, with some super adobe structures, and in this way they're not full domes, so they actually they are self-supporting, self-standing. So in this case they can lean on the dome, but they're not leaning, they're self-supporting, and they're just connected all together. So here I've got a little awning with some sort of a stretch fabric. I used to work obviously with stretch fabric, as you know. And here's a nice little awning that you could sit underneath, and then a little geodesic. I had this amazing idea of these geodesic greenhouses. Obviously, they're trying to inspire by Mike Reynolds, and you know, and the greenhouse allows the sunlight to enter and warm up this mass, which is in this case aircrete is not mass, so it's not going to work. So it has to be mass and then insulation on the outside, and then of course you've got these other pods and a bathroom. So that's another concept of a house, and you've got ponds and vegetable gardens and barley and a little food forest garden. It's it's not a big space. And here is a double story. I don't know which way I'll be showing this to you, so let me just show you how I'm seeing it. So yeah, it's a double story with solar, so these are little solar panels that actually, yeah, I think this is actually the same thing of this house. Yeah. See if there's anything here. No. Then I actually drew this in 3D. You would have it. There's these set of pods, and I'll actually just whip them out all together. So here we've got, again, this. It's a vault, but it's like, it looks like a cone shape. A cone, a little pine. No. Oak, like an oak kernel. That's the shape. And then it's got, of course, the geodesic, and here you can see the clear, and it could be even made more clear up to this line. So you have a lot of warmth coming in. You have these side rooms, these side pods that are coming in. Again, a tiny structure. The idea was all these tiny structures, that we have small structures and we have where we live, and where they're cozy, they bring family together. They do have separate spaces where people can sleep, but that main space brings the family together. I know smaller homes bring families together. These giant monstrosities that they're building now are just not conducive to, you know, families are splitting up, people are hiding in their rooms with iPods and iPads. So small structures. So yes, you're not gonna, you know, as soon as summer hits, you're there, you're playing, you're in the garden, you're building shade structures, growing shade structures with trees, so you can be actually, you know, nurtured in the garden. You're in the garden, you're barefoot as much as you can, which, you know, I'm talking to myself here, but you're out there, and then the structure is here to house you. So don't be afraid of small structures. And of course you can always add on. You know, you could always have, for example, a tunnel going off there and going into another structure going out, another home. So yeah, but I do have 3D of these pods. Yeah, here's another one of you know, these side little drawings. So there's that vault that I was showing you with a geodesic front greenhouse, and then maybe a spiral that actually sinks down and down into the earth with terraces, like a Fibonacci. So you've got terrace, 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 terrace. So you've got a nice little garden, or a herb spiral raising up, for example. That's also a possibility, a massive garden raising up, so getting that warmth of the, because this wall obviously is going to be warmed up, and these walls are going to warm up, so they're going to create a microclimate that's going to nurture this. And yeah, so in my case, yeah, I said earth dug out. Yeah, so, but again, you don't want to have a problem with flooding, so most probably going to have a pipe somewhere going out to a lowest point, wherever your lowest point is, just taking that excess water right underneath the ground out. So something you need to think about. And then of course you've got either the aircretes or the sandbag domes, and they all have different values for different climates. It's another little, so there was a lot of these home designs of you know, little pods, and yeah, again using geometry of Asher and Nadine. So again, gardens, ponds, flower beds, that's the greenhouse, geodesic greenhouse, a mass structure that can warm up. So this is an alternative to an earthship. This is what I'm drawing here. It's an alternative to an earthship that uses domes versus, you know, heavy duty tires. But there is beauty in tires because they create air conditioning. So here's more of these spirally structures, so you can actually start getting, so I've put a lot into these. So there they are, you know, they can be made out of bricks, they can be made out of ferrocement, there's toilet, a little secret room. You know, I was getting ready for 2012, there's a little spiral. So yeah, so the idea is there's the wind currents, that, so if you could create a wall here, you could have a wind current flowing there and cooling down the room. And there's that fridge. I've also been designing this natural fridge that will cool itself down. It's like in an egg shape, inspired by Victor Schauberger, you know. And here showing you windows and bench, window and bench. So there's like a snake going out, so repetition. And there's the greenhouse, or with two eyes, and these eyes are actually the doors. Again, taking it further, then creating some form of rebar tunnel, and then having plants growing over, and then showing you how winds will create micro wind currents. So there's a room little passage, and then there is a vault that goes out here. This could be all buried, for example. Yeah, and then you've got that room. So this obviously needs to be developed further, but the whole thing is in a Vesica Pisces, end of March 2013. Whatili elemental space, that's what I called it. Connected to cosmic consciousness, elemental, so very much bringing in the elements and the elementals, such as, you know, the nature spirits into the space. I know for some of you it might be too far out, but you know, just because we can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So it's this conscious spaces I was creating that are homes. Let's carry on. It's quite exciting even for myself to see. I need to start drawing more. It's got stuck on the computer too much. Actually, yeah. Again, little domes, little, you know, with tensile fabric. So this little tensile fabric is great to just stretches out, and boom, you've got instant rain cover, for example. There's the roof and smoke, and these are little sandbags, little wetlands around the dome. Yeah, and it's a part of a geodesic, you can see that. And there's a rainbow, so very much inspired by giant rainbows. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so a rainbow. There's the pot with, I mean not a pot, fireplace with a little copper pipe, and that heats up the underground room. And then it's got this egg, and it's got spaces underneath. There's the sandbags. It's got a 15,000 liter water egg, which is the next thing I'm going to start building, is these giant water eggs. And then of course the rainbow, which allows, it's a giant prism. And the guy to research is Peter Erskine. Peter Erskine, he's the giant rainbow wizard. He makes huge rainbows. So I'm very much inspired by having giant rainbows and having a bit of mist, so you can actually bath in the rainbow. But this would be in a geodesic dome, so I don't think there'll be mist here, but there'll be a rainbow everywhere. And again, seating spaces that you can sit, you know, creating. So yeah, so just some ideas for you to consider, and that's the entrance to get in. And I mentioned the copper pipe that goes all the way down and heats up the room underneath. And nobody knows about this space, so this is that safe space that should you even need to go and hide for whatever reason, you know. Yeah, more of the same thing. Again, it's tensile. Now I'm starting to play around with this Russian type of onion shape. God, forgot the name, excuse me. Yeah, and I've got a design to make it out of glass, so it's just different size glass cut. What do we have here? Okay, deck that moves up and down. So that will be strung out of Dreamcatcher. There will be a rope, so you can go up here and you can actually sit inside this Bindu dome. That's what it is, Bindu dome. And then you can sit inside this, and our almanac allows for certain light and moon and sun to come in and mark little glass beads that allow different shades. But we've got little shades of color on the wall, so it'll act as a calendar. So this deck allows you to travel up and actually be inside it. I've recorded a detailed thing for lesson for you on the almanac. It's under biogeometry lesson, I believe, in the theory. So have a look at that. Seat and cables. Yeah. Dreamcatcher for plants. So this is not actually in closed structure. This is, so you string a dream catcher in between these geodesic things, and then the plants creep over the whole thing. So this is the outside rooms that I'm talking about, and you can do this just out of trees and willows. You don't need to have any geodesic structures, but you know, it's geodesic is nice framed for these things to creep upon, and then when the geodesic rots eventually, or you can move it to set up another one, then the plants can self-support themselves. Winter cover made from hemp. So these are more of like a instant spaces. You need instant space on the land. You know, here's some ideas. A rooftop. Then I'm using a lot of, and this is in my coloring book, I'll give you this template so you can start playing around and designing. And the beauty about sandbags, it allows you to give you know, these shapes, you can build them, and then of course if you want to cover it, it will be a ferrocement scenario, for example, and with mesh, you know, rebar rods, and then just build up. But we don't teach ferrocement except for the water tank, but you know, you could do this funky shape. But the funky shapes that cost a lot of money to cover, that's why the domes are just, they figured out, boom, and they work. Some of the first drawings using geometry, kitchen, just shows you different spaces of different room, play space, guest room. But again, these weird shapes, they look very great on the, you know, on the screen, but impractical to build in terms of on a budget. Then I've been doing a lot of these geodesic roofs that with poles coming out, and obviously there's a tension cable that runs to, you know, to that knob in the center, and these tension cables allow this roof to be supported, so that the tension cables run. Yeah. Okay, so loads of these, and these again form a gutter here along the line, so the water catches, and then you can drain the water at one of the points or at 5 points, depends on the size. And then this can open, be closed for high winds, and can open up for, you know, when you need it to catch water. It can be automated, so it could have something heavy, like as something fills up and it knows then it's raining, and it goes down, and then it opens up the roof. So again, sandbag foundations, round windows, which a huge round door, but that huge wind can pop that right out. So this is when still, I mean, I love domes, and these are just more domes and domes and domes designs, and little bath, little steps to get into a bath, little tunnel. Or again, wetland pieces and little ponds, and this is a side view, I think, you know, just showing you how that steps down. Let's look at it the same way. Yeah, so it's just wetlands, glass front. So here's a glass, glass front. So the geodesic clear would be here, you know, and then this is the glass front. So you basically have that side of the dome fully glass, and this side of the tunnel fully glass. So that back should be mass for it to act like an airship, which needs to be insulated, obviously. Yeah, some good ideas. Some good ideas here. Here I wrote ancient ways of moving water. Research Babylon. So they had some good ideas. So anyway. More of these drawings of geodesics, and this little fridge, outside fridge. That's not the fridge I was talking about earlier, but nevertheless it is like a little box bubble that can be cooled down. So there's a 3-frequency geodesic dome with skylight against these roofs. But an interesting feature here is these space dividers or counters or bathroom rooms. So there's some good floor plans here. You can literally, don't be scared, and with sandbags you can build this, you know. So here it's like I'm giving it to you, and of course here there's the tire foundation, just shows you utilizing the tires of the dome. And then there's the geodesic greenhouse, the front part of the geodesic, which will be glass or now plexiglass. The idea is to have a laser cutter in a community, and that laser cutter will just be they've made this new material. I don't know how new it is, but it's brilliant. It's double wall, and it's semi-clear, so it's like, you know, it's not transparent, but it acts as a greenhouse, and it's fantastic because you can cut it in a laser cutter, and you can fit that into the geodesic triangles relatively quickly. Haven't tried, but something I'll be experimenting in Russia. So excited, just bought my ticket. I'm leaving on Saturday. Oh, there's another one. Listen, yeah, so another blob with the egg and these little, again, the floor plan here. There's that fireplace with the bed, you know, that you can lie on, and benches, couches, rocket stove couch. There's a fridge, two look like kidneys, but these little storage tanks, and of course wetlands. That's that. And then here you're seeing the underground room. Once again with shelves, so like a storage for all your cold things. And there's the entrance, yeah, to get in. And I was drawing this gosh, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years definitely, and now I've just completed the dome with the underground water tank, and you know, you're going to learn how to build it at the training. So just shows you that you don't have to, you know, you don't have to be discouraged. There, my drawings coming to life. Yes, 8 years later, but they're still coming to life. I'm just going to switch on the light. Okay, thank you. There's another little geometric drawing, quite cool. Again, wetland. Again, this baby looking fireplace, counters, just yeah, the table, beautifully incorporated. Again, designed for geodesic, but this back part could be Cull Earth, you know, Cull Earth with a giant, obviously arc. So if the Cull Earth would look like that, then it, you know, and if you go to Cull Earth website, you'll see these not completed domes. The top view looks like this, literally like this, like that. So, but yeah, it'll have a giant arc, probably a serious cement beam that can support the sandbags leaning on it, you know. Anyway, so yeah, that will allow for the entrance of the sunlight to come in. And remember that northern hemisphere you'll have, I mean not northern, where cold climates, you'll have shallow rooms with greenhouse, like Earthship style, and then like African really hot climates, you'll have a greenhouse without the slanted angle for the windows, and then a longer room so that that sun really doesn't get in, but it still gets in, but it doesn't, you know, you can hide away in the back parts of the room. So that's cold for warm, for hot climates, warm climates and cold climates. And obviously there's tropics, which is something else, but we do cover it in the designing for a climate on the theory section. Just to turn it, so again, the side view, we've been designing these decks which will turn like into almanac. Here's a Cull Earth structure, these domes, so it's not a full dome. Decks for almanac, decks to relax, little spheres for water tank, and give you gravity fed water. Of course, sandbags to have wetlands and plants, you know. So yeah, so it's all like this very similar theme. What else? Yeah, here's an Earthship greenhouse with a full story and then a dome on top, and that's a side view. Again, U-shaped room. I don't know how much you can see, but U-shaped room. A similar thing I've shown you earlier, so I'm not going to go too much into it. Oh, there's that greenhouse tunnel. Yeah, so there's the idea. So the sunlight comes in from one side, and then that's mass on the back, and that's your wetlands on the front. So it's actually, this is your sunny side, and this is your shady side. Okay, yeah. And then of course water tank and so on. Similar drawings. And this is here to show you a dream catcher. If you're trying a dream catcher between 1/5 of a geodesic dome, you're going to have this net. you know, and then this net can be climbed on. You can have plants creeping on it, you can have kids climbing on it, and then of course you can string a dream catcher in between the dome, and this movement shows the air movement inside the dome, so cold air coming in, wet, cold air. So this is the basics of this fridge that I'm designing. Underneath, it's this whole sphere. Underneath you've got the batteries, you've got the hot air coming out, and you've got a battery out for the acid. So there's a whole little Eco-Mission trapdoor to get in and out. Yeah, just some ideas, but the fridge is something I'm not going to be sharing with you because I actually need to work on that and develop it with investors. But the basics of it is that it's going to be movements, cold air and hot air moving. I'm just going to knock these set of drawings one time. Again, similar story. Yeah, you can see. Similar story. Beds, another interesting design. You're following sacred geometry, Fibonacci spiral for and amazing to do with sandbags. Super easy. Similar story. I'm not going to repeat. Water tanks. Deck to catch water, not a deck, sorry, that roof that can come out for catching water, tire foundation, similar story, kitchen sink, there it is, to store dishes, little steps to get in, again can be done with sandbags. So yeah, just giving you some ideas on floor plans even in these domes, of what can be done with more of the same preliminary drawings. Here's a nice little guy. It's a whole sphere sunken into the mountain with the egg, so you can only seeing this part, and this is all covered. Yeah. But yeah, so then you got this geodesic front house. There's a Binder dome, nice little design with little triangles, rhombuses, diamond shapes. Again, wetlands. So all my drawings are very much inspired by having a wetland in the front. There's the side view of that tunnel that I was showing you. So there's again sandbags creating a space for aquaculture or shower. There's a shower standing here with more plants. There's your glass. There's the sun. The sun is here. Yeah. Glass panels for hot climates, cold climates. You'd create another glass box here. You have a double one. And of course you'll have loads of mass here, loads of mass, and then somewhere here insulation, but we teach that in a lesson. Excuse me, this drawing got fired. But yeah, again, same story, geodesic going underneath storage space. Interesting spaces. Now starting to look at the vaults being slightly opened up, and I've got a lot of faith in this, in these domes. And these vaults that are going out, and the latest idea that I'm playing with is so yeah, we have a central room, we have the arc to allow sunlight to come in, we have the geodesic bubble, and we have this like rooms that are going out. This is the latest, this is where I'm going with this. You've got 3 rooms, for example, and then you've got your another for example 3 rooms like this. So you have different rooms and different shapes for different fields, and they all lean on each other, so using one wall as a division between, so it's minimal use of materials, maximum saving. Here's an interesting Fibonacci roof. I don't know if you can see it. Inspired by Mike Reynolds again, nothing new here. He's done a lot of it, and he's actually built these structures, but okay, so new types of vaults, that's what I'm playing with. Again, nothing new, but standing on the shoulders of giants, using again Fibonacci spiral to create floor plans, or even mosaic. Yeah, I think naturally, so that there's more of these kernel structures. There was a this will be lacquer. This if we can create a roof that we can stick our mix on top of, and then that roof gets dismantled, and moved. And you can have hundreds of these homes going up in a month. Hundreds. You could have 10 structures, and then Cal Earth have done it in a simple vault, and then these domes are just banging out so quickly. And then you've got this little almanac here again. You've got a room, kitchen, bedroom, cupboard, another room. You've got your wetlands, so that's really nice. Yeah, very cool. There's another design for another type of room that's actually yeah, it's leaning on. There's my first Earthship drawings was a U shape, and you know, before I went to Mike Reynolds. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Another floor plan of domes. And you have a lot of different other drawings in the course already. And as I discover, I've got so many drawings. As I discover them, I will share them with you. Here it just shows you windows that are coming up the side. You know, so as the sun rises, you have sunlight going through this window, that window, the next window. Again, another design for an Earthship type of structure with domes. More high buildings. So these are little awning vaults, ties. This is more like a conglomeration room. But it was too monstrosity, you know. I'm really looking at simpler structures now. But it just shows you, here's these interesting vaults, and you see how they're staggered. There they're starting. So this allows for the one room not to overshade the other room. And there was ties. You create the water tank. So you have water tanks there. So there's loads of these drawings. I'm not going to go into super details with them. There. That's what I want. That's lovely. So this is showing you the vaults at those shaded ones. So this is what I'm going to be playing with. I'll do a 3D sooner or later, and then I'll share it with you guys. So let's take it off. And a lot more drawings are in the bonus section. All my other drawings are there. Again, you see these structures, so I'm almost looking like a galaxy double Fibonacci spiral. Let's just give you some ideas that you don't have to, you know, get stuck on something. Okay, so that's, I think, for this pile is finished. Here's something interesting, these geodesic spheres that are for aquaculture, you know, not mine. Of course, we've got the Earthship global plan book. Great to have, only $15, but I bought it at Mike Reynolds. There we go. And then just some more of these dome villages. A friend of mine shared this with me. I don't even know who drew them. Yeah, just some dome villages. But yeah, it's people are drawing very similar things. We're all on the same page. I hope you enjoyed the lesson and the extra bonuses I had to share with you. May you have a fantastic day.